so let's review. Okay, reading is thinking. We must predict, recall, connect, visualize, and summarize while we are reading. Okay. Our unit is on poetry, which is writing that expresses a feeling or idea and uses words for their sound and rhythm as well as their meaning. Okay. Now we have point of view. What is point of view? Angelica. Yeah, it's who is telling the story. And how many points of view do we have? 3. I see a lot of people holding up the 3. That's right. First person, which is I, me, my, us. Words, which is the narrator talking as if he is the character in the story. Second, you, your. The narrator makes you a part of the story. And then third is they, he, she, them. The narrator is not a character in the story. Okay, perspective. What is perspective? Valeria. Okay, Naomi, help her. How does the narrator feel about the point of view? How the story is told. Very good. And again, how does the narrator feel about a topic as well? Right, in this picture it shows rain and how some people can view rain as a bad thing while others can see it as a good thing. Like this reporter's like, oh no, my equipment's being damaged. But this panda's like, oh well, this rain is making my plant grow. Okay? How do we shape and form our identities is going to be a part of our essential question. Okay, we read equal rights and the magic of work, not the magic of work.
Still working on equal rights.
Okay. Okay. What's our prior knowledge of, what is a memoir?
A what?
A memoir.
I have no idea.
Alright, popsicle stick and run. What's a memoir?
Can you write it down in our notebook?
We've been memoir or autobiography are similar. And we spent a lot of time talking about autobiography. Okay. Ishmael, what's a memoir? Anybody? What is a memoir?
Memory.
It comes from the word memory. It has that same M-E-M.
Something that holds something.
Well, let's follow what Brandon was saying, right? What memory? If you're writing about a memory, what is your writing about?
Brain.
About holding a memory.
About yourself?
It's about yourself. Yes, Valeria, right? If you're writing about your own memories, your own collection of memories, when you write a memoir, it is about your memories your memories. And then what was the perspective of Felix Bernetta choosing peace? Remember this poem? What was the perspective in this choosing peace poem? Naomi.
What?
What was the perspective of Felix Varela, the author
He didn't want to be violent.
He didn't want to use violence. I would say that is a main value of his, given that the title is also choosing peace, right? And he talked about not wanting violence in his own life and in the lives of the people that he worked with, like all those Irish families and all the people that came into his church. Okay, we went over the vocab. Okay. Vocab. Okay.
Equal rights.
So we've read it and we've done the front and part of the back of their worksheet.
Okay. So
You can reread it again.
I'll reread it and then we'll continue working on our worksheets. Okay. Equal rights. Jose, Marty, and all the other exiled poets meet in my Florida home where they recite beautiful verses and discuss ways to bring freedom to our homeland. They call me a heroine for creating a friendship society of black and white Cubanos, all of us living in exile, where we help each other and help the needy, orphans, widows, and poor. When my friend and I walk arm in arm, it is a wordless statement of equality, Marty's light skin and my dark skin side by side. Okay. The author's name is Paulino Pedros, and she was born in 1845 to 1925 in Cuba. Okay. Go ahead and get your worksheets out from Wednesday.
So it's the warning for the two of you. Your bin should already be at your desk. We talked about that.
But guess what? I don't like doing it. Oh, I like the paper, man. I can't find it.
Okay, while you're getting that out, what is the main idea of the poem that we just read? What was the main idea of that? You can look at your worksheets if you need to. Angela, what was the main idea?
I have no idea.
You don't have your worksheet?
Oh.
Okay, we'll find you one. Alright. David, what was the main idea? What was the key information in the poem? It's on your right side of your folder. Yeah, that one. Okay, just read it. What is the main idea? Okay, Jaden. You were here for the poem reading, right? When I read the poem? Mm-hmm. What was the main idea? Alright, let me read it one more time. This time, listen closely, so when I ask you what the main idea, we have something to share. Okay, this poem is called Equal Rights. Jose Marti and all the other exiled poets meet in my Florida home, where they recite beautiful verses and discuss ways to bring freedom to our homeland. They call me a heroine for creating a friendship society of black and white Cubanos. What's Cubanos? Well, what's a core part of Cubano? What do we think it might mean, Ishmael? Cubanos. It's not a house. Where is the author from? Isaac.
Cuba.
From Cuba. What do you think Cubano means? Means people from Cuba or with Cuban descent, right? So a friendship society of black and white Cubanos, people from Cuba, people with Cuban in their ancestry. All of us living in exile where we help each other and help the needy, orphans, widows, the poor. When my friend and I walk arm in arm, it's a wordless statement of equality. Marty's light skin and my dark skin, side by side. Okay, what's the main idea, Ishmael? It's about equal rights. Yeah, that's why the poem is called Equal Rights. What in the poem makes you say that the main idea is equal rights? Besides the title. Think about that. And I will come back to you. Angelus, what's the main idea? Right, I read it twice. People should be thinking while I'm reading so that we can do our assignment together. Edwin, what is the main idea? Ishmael said equal rights, but what in the poem kind of gives that away? Okay, David, what is the main idea of the poem? They're treating each other fairly, okay. What details support that in the poem? What was going on inside the poem? What is the perspective? Okay, we're gonna move on to completing our assignment. I was trying to give you some ideas to write, but if we're all not participating, then it's gonna be hard to get ideas to write. Okay, she wants to help people to make sure they're not, I don't think she mentioned enslaved, but maybe like exiled. Okay, she mentioned being exiled, which was common in Cuba at the time, right? People were kicked out of their home country because they disagreed with things that maybe were going on at the time. And she did talk about freedom, which kind of goes along with what Naomi was saying, right? All of us living in exile, where we help each other and the needy, orphans, widows, and the poor. Okay. You guys should be on the back page, so go ahead and flip your page over. We're on number 2, which is how do the illustrations reinforce the ideas of the poem?
Black and white.
So if you take a look at your front page or at the board, you can see the illustration of what? Brandon, what do you see in this picture?
Black and white.
Like a black woman and a white bird. No, that's actually very valid symbolism, right? Because in her poem, it says, Marty's light skin and my dark skin side by side. It's a wordless statement of equality. So you could say that the contrast of this woman's darker skin and the white dove is symbolism for racial equality. That's actually a good point there. Okay. What else do we see in the picture? Ishmael.
Yeah.
What do you see in the picture?
A white bird.
Okay, what else? Because Brandon already said that. Trees. Okay. And what about
A nice small little village.
it's not a village, it's a one singular
House.
house.
I'm going home to play Roblox.
Well, these are palm trees which grow in the these look like palm trees to me, which grow in very like hot, humid climates. But yeah, it kind of does look like she lives in the middle of nowhere. Why do you think she included all this like trees,
Like nature.
nature, this bird? Why do you think
It's her pet
she
bird.
would include that? Valeria. Okay, maybe she wants to give the reader her point of view of what? Of what she's seeing where?
How she lives on.
How, where she lives, how she lives. Israel and Brandon, we are either participating here or voices off, listening to our other peers share their thoughts. Okay, so what can we write for number 2?
Maybe she wants people to see how she lives, what she lives on.
Okay. So, let's do, okay, let's say tools. Okay, so the first part of our job is to take the question and turn it into the beginning of our sentence. How do the illustrations reinforce the idea of the poem? Alright, so we're gonna start and I'm gonna show you on the board how I'm writing it. And then I'm gonna give you some time to write your answer.
Why you keep on saying that?
The idea of the poem because she wants people to
What in the world?
see how she lives it and where she lives.
Okay, that's a good answer for you.
I have no idea.
Okay, so make sure you're following along. How do the illustrations reinforce the idea in the poem? The illustration reinforce
I have no idea.
You do it.
yeah.
You talk about poems.
So the illustration is gonna be how you're starting. Can I get Ishmael, can you turn off the lights so we can see this better? The illustration of blank, right? And then you're gonna describe what you see. The illustrations of blank. Naomi said the illustration of the house is so the writer can show the readers where she lives, how she lives. So everybody should be writing the sentence down. The illustrations of blank, right? And then you're gonna describe what in the picture. Reinforce blank in the poem. Right, and for Naomi, I would, where did she live? Yeah, but what was it called? If you're mentioning where she lives, I would mention exactly where she lives, right? Which was where, Edwin? Cuba, okay. Alright, so Naomi had a good idea. The illustration of the house reinforce Cuban, the author living in Cuba in the poem, or the people in Cuba in the poem. So go ahead and do your sentence then. Make sure you're leaving yourself enough room for your answers. Right. The idea of
I put the illustrator was the ideas in the poem because I should want people to see where she lives and how she lives.
okay. Right, and you can write more too, right?
What? Water.
Okay. Make sure you have this. I'm gonna give you guys 2 minutes to write this. Okay, the illustrations of the house reinforce the ideas of what? People where? Huh? Right? Where does she live though? Well, you just said it. Naomi and Edna said they reinforce their ideas in Cuba.
Show me a house.
No. So ideas of people. Or how. So how people. The black woman and the white bird contrast what idea? Reinforce what idea? You told me, and it was a really good one. I looked at it. Yeah, you can. The illustration of the bird, right? You're gonna describe what you see in the poem. Okay.
Okay.
In the illustration of the woman, yeah.
The bird.
So you're explaining what you see in the picture.
Reinforces
What
the
in the picture of the,
body area.
okay. What do you see? What do you see?
I don't know if you remember that.
Plants and
What
what?
about something different?